Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Monday morning Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA.
Where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And in case you have forgotten what that is, Mark's written a book about it. Mark, what's
Oh my
AFA?
God, how can you forget? Well, obviously, because you haven't read the book. Read the book. Now, here's what it is. You're absolutely fucking amazing exactly as you are. Perfect, whole, and complete. You don't need anything else. Don't need to be better. Don't need to learn anything. Blah, blah, blah. You're whole, complete, and perfect. You're absolutely fucking amazing. So you got to live
Happy
like
Monday.
that. Once you own it, you got to live like that.
Own it. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. AFA day. Rise and shine. It's Motivational Monday time.
Yes, it is. Monday, February 22nd, 2021. We are winding down the year. Holy cow. February's almost done, Sherry. It's crazy.
I know.
So let's start off with a little bit of daily love. And you know what? My heart is full of love today because I started my 2-year mindfulness and meditation teacher certification program this weekend.
Ooh,
Oh, it was so good. So get this. There were 6,500 applicants from around the world for this course. They accepted 2,500 from 75 different countries, and we were all on an online virtual retreat this weekend, and it was spectacular.
oh my God, that is so cool.
It really was.
So a mindfulness meditation teacher, is that right?
Yes, yes.
So
It's like
cool
a
is that?
master's in meditation. You know, it's a 2-year program, and this is being instructed and led by by several people, two specifically, Jack Cornfield and Tara Brock, who are just known throughout the meditation space as being, you know, at the top of their game. They've lived this life their whole lives. And so it's just so special to be a part of that cohort because, you know, meditation will change the world. It literally will. The energy that's given out by people who are meditating will change the world. So I'm so excited. So let's talk about the daily love today. I pulled from Landmark again, Landmark Insights, book 1. And I love this. And so it's talking about being authentic. And having it be a matter of courage. So being authentic is not really how we usually operate in the world, right?
No,
because we have ways of being with certain people, like with your family, you're one way, with this group of people, you're another way, in business, you're another way, like not authentic, right? And so it starts out with, you know, life is like if a drop of red paint goes into a big bucket of white paint, you might not notice much of a difference, but it is different. And over time, these being inauthentic moments kind of build up, and then it's chaos because you don't really know who you are.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's about the possibility of fully being ourselves occurs in proportion to our being authentic. That right there.
That's really huge because what do you think about what like authentic transparency?
Yeah.
Showing up in the world exactly as you are, being open and vulnerable to all areas of exposing who you are and still loving yourself regardless of what's going on out there. So that meditation, when we take those deep breaths in, we're bringing in spirit to create a new internal dialogue.
Yes,
most of us, we're listening to the outside dialogue of the world.
So what happens after all these little inconsistencies, right? These inauthenticities, what happens is you lose yourself. You lose who you are. You don't remember who you are, right?
Yeah.
So you're right.
And that's why we're here to remind you.
That's right. That's why we're here to remind you.
Yes.
So you're right, Chip.
And that's part of like that's part of too, like the authentic transparency and what we're doing here now on our show is we're opening our lives up to the world of holistic healing, progressive therapies, cannabis as medicine, and we're sharing our own personal stories of transformation, you know, telling the good, the bad, the neutral, you know, whatever story you want to create around the situation, but we're having that authentic transparency because without that, I can't educate. I have to educate from a place of not only being a patient, but a provider. So that's what we're doing, is we're looking through the lens of both ways. And we want to tell you, here it is here's just a quick story that goes around with it, is, when I first got sick and ill, couldn't figure out how to make it work for me, couldn't figure out how to make the traditional system work for me. So what was that? I got embarrassed and ashamed, right? And I didn't want people to know that I was suffering and struggling and that the traditional system wasn't working for me. So that became inauthentic. But I didn't live in the story. Cannabis medicine came into my life, transformed my life. And then I was hiding that. And then I'm like, that's not authentic.
Not authentic. Right.
So the authentic part of me, the plant, allowed me to process information, process emotion from a different place, so I could step into who I am and not be ashamed of what happened to me. Right.
So true. So I gave the example of my dating life. So when I got divorced, I started dating, and I dated a lot of people and had a lot of fun. Really dated some amazing people. But here was the problem. I got really good at figuring out what made them happy and what they liked. And I would do that. I would become that. Right. And so it didn't last very long. Like, every one of the relationships would end because I'd reach a point where it'd be like, yeah, this really isn't doing it for me anymore. And I didn't really understand that because I was that people pleaser and because I was really good at understanding what they needed, I didn't really know what I needed, but it would rise to the surface over time. So what I had to do, Sherry, was finally I had to take a break. Like, after a long time, I had to take a break from dating for like a year and step back and say, who the hell am I really? What do I like to do? What is it that Mark likes? Right? Because it's striking a balance in a relationship between what someone else's needs are and what yours are. If you ignore either one of those, the relationship's not going to work.
Exactly.
So I had to figure out who I was. And once I got to that point, I was able to be authentic. And that's why the relationship I'm in now with my wife is such an amazing, unbelievable relationship, is because I'm completely authentic and have been from day one. No pretense, just me. And she's been the same. So it created this space and this opportunity for both of our needs to be met really well, like completely. And the relationship's unbelievable. So it's being authentic. But guess what? For a reformed people pleaser, it takes a lot of courage.
Energy. Yeah. Energy and courage.
Energy, right? You got to step outside that needing to be loved by the other person. You know what I mean? So stepping out and being authentic and taking that chance, letting go of the pretense of, well, if they really find out who I am, they're not going to love me. Yeah, it's all bullshit. Remember, you're absolutely fucking amazing exactly as you are. And so if somebody doesn't accept you as you are, it's their loss, not yours. So
exactly. So that is self-love for the win. Authentic transparency. Authentic transparency.
Yeah, that's the word of the day for me, babe. Authentic.
Me too. Absolutely. And that's like, just think about our relationship coming together as business partners. We both are very, very authentic and very upfront and
sometimes awkward, uncomfortable moments. But my God, you walk through those, you get to this new space of partnership, and it's not, like any other partnership I've had before, because we do that.
We do that. We're conscious. That's what it is we're becoming consciously conscious of how we take care of ourselves and how we interact and present in the world, right?
Yes.
I love that topic, Mark. Awesome way to start the week. Motivation Monday. So
be yourself.
Be yourself. And so here we are. I'm going to be myself. My favorite topic of the day is always about cannabis. And Motivational Monday, we've been covering every week about what motivates us as cannabis nurses, what drives us, why do Mark and I get up every day to educate you all here every morning. I'm not a morning person, but I'm going to tell you what, this has been the most rewarding experience I've ever had in doing this with you all.
You kick ass in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at being a morning person, but anyways.
You are awesome.
I'm getting there. I'm awesome.
So here we are. What do we talk about on Monday, Sherry? Motivation Monday. We talk about the guidelines, the NCSBN guidelines, the National Council of State Boards of Nursing. And so that's what motivates cannabis nurses, is that the state board, the National Council put out the guidelines in 2018, Sherry, right?
Yes, yes. And this is the National Council State Boards of Nursing is the largest nursing regulatory board that actually puts together the exams for all nurses to be licensed in every
Nurse
state.
has
Okay?
to pass this exam, and it's
Yes,
an ass-kicking exam. I
yes,
will say that.
it
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
the National Council State Boards of Nursing, Mark, I'm going to let you go over these really quick. They
Yeah.
identified 6 essential areas of knowledge about cannabis for all nurses, nursing students, and advanced practice nurses.
Right. And this and that and understand that these are not in curriculum yet, but it's starting to show up. Like there's a lot of interest in starting to educate on cannabis,
Yeah.
and rightly so. So this is 2018. This is a really big thing that they came out, and it's really saying we recognize that cannabis is a medicine. It's not going away. So we better understand what's going on with our patient population because they're going to come in and want to know. So we
Yeah.
have to understand it, right? Because as nurses, we take information from everywhere and bring it all together and help the patient understand and be empowered. So the first guideline is that the nurse shall have a working knowledge of the current state of legalization of medical and recreational cannabis use. Remember that's going to be changing. But why is that important? Well, because there's so many different varying regulations, somebody could get in trouble.
Yeah.
So we need to know and say to them, hey, you know what? You're living in a state that's not recreational. You're not really supposed to go over the border and grab it from the recreational state next door.
Right.
And that's all going to go away because everybody's going to have access to it eventually. Thank you.
Yes.
But you need to know because you need to let the patient know. What's the second one?
Yeah, so smart, safe consumption is really important. Number one, the
Yes.
working knowledge. So the nurse, number 2, the nurse shall have working knowledge of the jurisdiction medical program. So the jurisdiction of the medical program is not only each state's laws, but how they actually work, what it means, the details, the nitty gritty about what do you need to do to get your medical card?
Right.
Jurisdiction of each medical cannabis program and everything's different. What's allowed, what's not allowed. The amount of THC and CBD is different.
Some states are like very low quantity THC with CBD. Some states are like, hey, whatever you want to do, you do. Other states are like, yeah, you can grow 6 plants, and other states are like, no, you can't grow any.
Exactly. So it's important to know that as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So the nurses need to know these things. And number 3, Mark, what's the third one? One of our favorites.
I love this one because this is what you and I are all about, baby. This is the gold right here. The nurse shall have an understanding of the endocannabinoid system, cannabinoid receptors, cannabinoids, and the interactions between them.
Right, exactly. So we get into that all throughout the week. We talk about the endocannabinoid system and all those things, and we relate it to the umbrella, and we'll get more into that. So yeah, it's really, really important. The endocannabinoid system in a nutshell is the largest neuroregulatory system in our body. It regulates all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all of the neurotransmitter messaging signaling systems that give messages to tell our body to either do something or do something. That is really cool to have the endocannabinoid system at the very tippy top showering on us.
Right. Yeah. And the next one,
the nurse shall have understanding of cannabis pharmacology and the research associated with the medical use of cannabis. And we're going to talk about that in the next quick segment.
Talking about research, you should see the spice. So I saw a chart of research that has been done or is ongoing in 2017, 18, 19 was a straight up 20 it's off the charts. So cannabis is a medicine, folks. We all agree. And now a lot of research is being done, which is exciting. We really need to stay up on it, which is what we do, Sherry, right? I mean, we subscribe to services and we pay a pretty penny for it that give us all of that research on a regular basis so that we can consume it and understand sort of the new ideas and concepts of what cannabis medicine is all about.
Yeah. So cool. Love it. The other thing too, so 5, the nurse shall be able to identify safety considerations for the patient's use of cannabis. So we talk about that all the time with every condition we talk about, every symptom we talk about. we talk about what is it, risk benefit ratio,
Right.
and using the lowest amount of cannabinoids to get the most therapeutic response for the medical patients. That's what we talk about a lot.
Right. And number 6, the one. The nurse shall approach the patient without judgment regarding a patient's choice of treatment or preferences in managing pain and other distressing symptoms.
The essence of nursing is human caring.
Right.
And so when we are, there's no room for judgment if you are a medical practitioner.
I mean, there still is, there is still a lot of judgment. I mean, that's what we do as human beings. We judge, and it's an automatic thing. It's like, we're presented with someone and we immediately make judgments based on what's in here from the past. So it's not even relevant data, right?
Yeah.
So being able to suspend that, we're trained to do that, suspend that for a moment and accept that the patient has a way of being and understanding that we can allow them to choose what works for them.
Yes. Yeah. It's the whole corny statement that we say is we're going to hold your hand until you're ready to let go, right? It's guiding someone down the path, empowering them to make decisions, relieving suffering and improving quality of life.
We're going to get you on the cannabis bicycle and take the training wheels off when you're ready.
Exactly. Great. So part of non-judgment, part of the non-judgment is about dispelling myths, right? Decreasing stigma around past stories that are no longer relevant when we talk about
misinformation, which is how cannabis became illegal in the first place, which is why the American Medical Association testified in Congress in 1937 against cannabis prohibition. That's right. The doctors were against cannabis prohibition. And with good reason, because there were over 600 preparations of medicine by the pharmaceutical companies, believe it or not. Eli Lilly, Pfizer, all had cannabis preparations because, folks, it's a medicine.
It's a medicine.
And so it was misinformation by particular government people, politicians, career. Do I need to say anything more?
No, you don't.
So here's the myth. So week 1, what do we talk about? The gateway theory. Bam! It's bullshit. Week 2, cannabis lowers intelligence. Please. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Look at us.
And this week, I know. Look at us. We're geniuses, Sherry. I don't know.
Smart. I don't know.
I'm absolutely amazing. You're absolutely amazing. We own it. We're geniuses. And so are you. Okay. So are you, everybody. Sherry, what are we going to talk about this week?
Okay, so this week is a really good one, and this is a hot one for a lot of different people. Is that this week's myth that we are going to dispel is this: cannabis legalization is linked to the rise in traffic fatalities.
Right.
So cannabis legalization is linked to the rise in traffic fatalities. We know that this is a public safety concern. However, if we legalize and normalize cannabis use in a way that is therapeutic medically, canna wellness, is there really more impaired drivers on the road?
Well, Sherry, how do we determine if these things are true or not? We do research, right?
Right.
And so there has been research that's been done because we've had cannabis legal states for a long period of time now. And so there's a lot of data because, of course, we track every traffic fatality, is investigated and data is gathered. So what's the research telling us, Sherry?
Well, it just basically, hold on a second. Let me just, I can't see really quickly. My screen just went. So basically, they had all of the alarming statistics about traffic fatality are mostly published by one group.
Well, imagine that. There's only one group pumping out misinformation, Sherry.
I know, really. Well, the Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, Sherry. Are they in law enforcement or government? Let me just. Is the group, are they part of law enforcement or government and they're pumping out information?
Yeah. Looks like it's
what do they have to say?
So basically, the group is a federally funded law enforcement group with an admitted anti-cannabis bias. So its director, Tom Gorman, has publicly acknowledged that much of the data assembled by their group is opinion-based. So what does this mean, Mark?
We know about opinions, Sherry. Everybody has one. They all stink.
Yeah, everyone's an expert, right? Like everyone's an expert with no knowledge. Knowledge of the endocannabinoid system.
So they're federally funded. They acknowledge that they're opinion-based and not data-driven. And so it's a federally funded law enforcement group, which, law enforcement has a vested interest in doing what? Applying laws, whether they're true or not. That's just what they are tasked with doing. So here we go.
What does it mean? It means they make it up. They make it up. They're opinions. Opinions aren't necessarily facts, just like feelings aren't facts.
Right.
So they make this up. So basically, real organizations who have actually studied real traffic data have drawn their conclusions, and we are happy to share them with you all. Mark?
We are. Here we go. A study published in the American Journal of Public Health, which is not like the National Enquirer, folks. It's a reputable journal. It was published in 2017, found no significant increase of motor vehicle fatalities in Colorado and Washington state, where adult use cannabis is legal, compared with 8 states where it is not legal. All of the states that were compared have similar populations, vehicle ownership, and traffic laws, which in research studies, you want to make sure that the groups you're looking at are all the same, right? Homogeneous, right? It's important to do that because it means that the research study is reliable.
Right. Less variables.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the next study?
The next one. So in another study, researchers at Columbia University reported in 2016. So this is back in 2016.
Right. Going back.
It's a while back. On average, medical marijuana law states had lower traffic fatality rates than non-normal states. So this is interesting. The same study found that cannabis laws are especially associated with reductions in traffic fatalities among 25 to 44-year-old people.
Yeah.
The researchers assume that the reduction is most likely due to the impact on alcohol consumption. Other thing that's really cool too is young men in legal cannabis states are drinking less alcohol.
Woo!
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So I'm just
fights.
And I'm going to talk to you just a little bit like from personal experience, when it comes to using cannabis as medicine. And it's really, really important. Like people say, do you use cannabis and drive? I don't drive when I'm impaired. No. So that's just and the consciousness that you have about like, I did all this work to help myself feel better. The last thing I'm going to do is get behind the wheel of a car.
Right. Which is markedly different from alcohol. How many times have you tried to take the keys away from a drunk friend?
Right.
What do you get? Combative. You get combative, right? They're not willingly, I'm fine to drive. I'm fine to drive. Yeah. Yeah. We know what that's about.
Yeah, we know what that's about. And the majority of cannabis consumers, whether they be medically or adult use, know that, understand that. They take the time to know their body. Of course, there are some irresponsible users out there, but for the most part, even those people don't get behind the wheel of a car. They just don't. In my experience, if someone wants to take away the keys, they gladly give them up and they go sit on the couch. Until the experience is worn off. So it's, so basically the bottom line is that we're not advocating for impaired driving, but this idea that legalizing cannabis leads to carnage on the highways is not born on
the
fact.
Data does not support it. And listen, we're nurses, we're in the healthcare field. We rely on evidence-based fact. Okay. We look for evidence, and the evidence does not bear out the statements that these people are putting out that say that cannabis increases fatalities. Show us the data.
Right. Yeah. Show us the data.
So
this was great. So 3 weeks, 3 myths dispelled. Next week, we're going to talk about one of our favorites.
Yeah.
CBD is medical and THC is recreational. And we're going to dispel that next week.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be a fun conversation. All right, Sherry.
This is great. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Good morning,
everybody. Yeah.
Good morning, Dee. Good morning, the Green Nurse. I wonder who that is.
Sending you all that love energy from this weekend. Oh, I'm full of it. It's already getting out.
It's already getting out, the energy. So we have some great things going on this week.
Yeah.
Make sure you tune in every morning and every Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. We've got lots of
All your friends to stop by. We really would love everybody to listen in on the morning and interact.
And interact.
You pop in and comment, and just absolutely love the interaction. And Sherry and I, can't tell, we absolutely love doing this. We really do.
We do. Yeah. I mean, it's really fun, and it's educational. It's helping me. And I know the people that have reached out, that it says that the content and material that's helping them, this is why we do it. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
So if you or someone you love is suffering from chronic illness, chronic disease, having pain, or someone you love is interested in learning how to incorporate cannabis into the daily health and wellness regimen, or if you want to learn how to have a safe adult use experience, we're here to teach you at The Green Nurse, www.thegreennurse.com.
Oh, and we are about community. Listen, I am so high on community these days. Like, together we can change the world. So our efforts here are to decrease the stigma around cannabis so that people understand that it's a medicine that can be used safely and effectively in their lives. And so if you're in the healthcare space, if you're helping people be healthy anywhere in there, come on in, join our community. Let's do this together. We are ready to share that knowledge that we have. And we have a lot of other people in the community that have so much knowledge, not just about cannabis, but about other things like energy healing, which is the next wave, right? It's the next thing, and psychedelics and all sorts of other different modalities. We bring it all together here in The Green Nurse. So join us.
Join us. And Mark, what kind of a day are you going to have today?
An authentic AFA day, baby. That's right. And Sherry, what's it all about?
Oh, it's about being authentic and living your best life.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning.